y'all, welcome to the very first episode of Our Self-Love Story, the audio diary podcast. I'm your host, Brandi Hess, and today we are taking the first step to falling deeper in self-love. First of all, I want to say thank you to each and every person who is tuned in to the show right now. I'm so glad that you decided to come along on this self-love journey with me. I'm thankful. I'm excited. I'm just feeling everything good right now that I'm starting this journey and that you are coming along on this journey with me. And just by being tuned in right now, you are officially a member of the Our Self-Love Story community, the O.S.L.S community. So give yourself a clap for that. Welcome me, welcome you. And we're going to have fun here. So just to get started, I want to tell you a little bit about myself because I want to build a community. I want y'all to get to know me, and I want to get to know y'all as well. So a couple fun facts about me. Like I said, my name is Brandi Hess. I'm 24 years old. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I'm a Taurus, and if I could travel anywhere in the world, I would go to Australia. I want to see the Great Barrier Reef. I want to see a koala, a kangaroo, maybe eat some freaking, I don't know. Whatever they eat out in Australia, that's what I want to do, okay? So if I could travel anywhere, I would go to Australia. So let me know if you're down on YouTube or Instagram. Let me know some fun facts about you. What's your sign? Where you from? And what's one place that you would travel to if you could go anywhere in the world? That's just a little bit about me. As the show goes on, you're going to learn so much about me, about my experiences and my emotions and everything, but this is just a little intro to get us started. So now that you know a little bit about me, let's talk about my podcast, Our Self-Love Story. So, like I said, Our Self-Love Story is an audio diary. So I always had diaries growing up in elementary school, middle school, high school. And in my diaries, it get real, okay? Like, I'm an introvert, and I think a lot, and I keep a lot inside. But when I start writing that diary, I don't hold nothing back, okay? Like, I am very vulnerable, very honest, very sincere and genuine whenever I am writing in my diary. And one page, I might be talking about a boy that I liked in school. The next page, I'll probably cuss my mom out, cussing my sister out, because they made me mad. I hope my mama never seen my podcast. Never found them in my diaries and read them. If she did, girl, I'm sorry, because I know I done cussed you out a couple times in my diary. Okay, but it's no hard feelings. It's no hard feelings. I just had to get it out. So just like those diaries that I had growing up, I'm going to use this podcast as a platform for me to really just be transparent and to be vulnerable and to share my true and genuine thoughts and emotions. And since I am sharing this with the world, this is a little bit different from your ordinary diary that, you hide in your room or in a closet somewhere that nobody can find. With this podcast, I'm sharing it with the world, and I'm opening myself up and opening up the doors for people to give me advice, for people to come along on my journey with me and to share their journeys with me as well. And we can help, be a community and help each other grow and help each other be better. And so that's what I'm hoping to get out of this podcast. I want to have a community, and I want to grow and learn from others and just really get everything out of my head and into the world. And one thing that makes this podcast different from other podcasts is that as a podcast listener, I've noticed that a lot of times people start a podcast once they're an expert, right? So they have mastered whatever field that they're in. So whether it's like a real estate agent or a fashion expert or a love coach, once they start the podcast, they have reached a point in their journey where they have become an expert. They've already been through all the trials and the tribulations, the ups and the downs, the good days and the bad days. But as a listener, I've always wanted to know, like, what was that process like for this person to become an expert in, real estate or whatever the case may be? What were those trials and tribulations? How did they feel at that point in time? And that's not something that I see a lot in podcasts. And so with me knowing that I wanted to start a self-love journey, I said, why not just take people along on the journey with me and give listeners that inside scoop that I've been looking for as a listener, and to invite them to join me as well. So I'm not an expert. I'm not a self-love expert. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just living my life. I'm going through my journey day by day, and I'm sharing it with you. And I hope that you will come along on the journey with me and support me as I go through that journey. And I want to be able to use this podcast as to look back 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 6 months from now, to see how much I've grown, to see if I've grown at all, or just to see, just to recollect on where my mindset was at this exact point in time. So I'm so excited to get started with this, and this is my self-love journey. So if you're ready to embark on this self-love journey with me, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to keep it all the way funky with y'all, okay? Where am I? And I'm going to start off by posing a question to myself, okay? Because I'm here by myself. So as the show goes on, I'm going to have guests. But for today and for some episodes, I'm just going to sit down and talk to y'all face to face, okay? So today, we just talking. So I'm going to pose a question to myself. Where am I in my self-love journey? Alright, so right now, I know this is a podcast about self-love. Self-love is supposed to be positive and influential and all that good stuff, right? But the reality is, like I said, I'm on a journey, okay? And at this point in my journey, it ain't all, rainbows and roses and flowers. For the last 2 or 3 months, I really have not been in a good place mentally and emotionally. I've been very sad, very anxious a lot of times. Like, just my mind is constantly racing, constantly worried about what people think about me or how their perception of me, trying to please people. I haven't been speaking to myself in a very kind way, telling myself I'm not good enough, or I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not good at my job, whatever. It's just a lot of things that I have just been telling myself, and just being very hard on myself. And I don't want to be in that place anymore. I'm ready to, I don't ever want to go back to that place where I was. Like, I was sad to the point that one day I was driving home from work and I just bust out crying because I was just feeling just like not good enough. I was feeling like everything that I did was wrong, like I was done. And it just, for the past 2 or 3 months, I've really been in that place. And it's gotten better. I would say like the last 3 weeks, I have been much better. But just remembering like how it was prior to that, I don't ever want to go back there. And that's what has prompted me to start on this self-love journey and really take it seriously, because I know what it's like to be in a really bad place. And I don't want to be in that place. I don't want to be in that place ever again. I don't want to be that person that is just not loving themselves, that is just not happy in life in general. I do not. And so that's why it's like, not only do I want to do this self-love journey, but it's kind of like I need to do it, because I can't live like that. I really cannot. So I really need to be on this journey, and I'm just being transparent with you about where I'm at right now. I'm starting from the bottom. I have nowhere else to go but up, because I was at the bottom, and that's not really where I want to be anymore, and where I don't want to allow myself to be. And so let's just go all the way back, and I can tell you where it all started. So I recently started a new job. Not too recently, maybe like 6 months ago. I started a new job, and the job has a very steep learning curve for me. And so that makes me feel a lot of times like I question myself a lot at my job, because there is so much for me to know and learn. And I am still relatively new. Well, at that point, a few months ago, I was still very new. and I was still learning a lot, but I was responsible for a lot, and so it just made me question myself a lot and made me very anxious in general. So that's kind of like the headspace that I was in a few months ago when these feelings really started to come about. And more specifically, there's one day in particular where I would say was the beginning of the end for me, as far as like my physical, not my physical, my mental and emotional state. That kind of started that 2 to 3 month time span when I was really just not happy. So we're gonna do a little story time. So I was at work and I was talking to one of my coworkers. I was talking to one of my coworkers, telling him that I was like interested in like a friend that I had known for a little while. I was telling him like, yeah, I'm interested in this guy or whatever. And I wanted to like talk to him, but I was so nervous. I was telling him like, yeah, he's cute, you know, I want to talk to him, like he all that, you know. But like, I don't want to like shoot my shot because he probably not gonna like me, or he not gonna like my pictures on Instagram, you know, like I'm a shoot and it's gonna miss, like just telling myself all of this stuff that could go wrong. And he was like, girl, like you gotta be sure of yourself, like you sound like you insecure. Like I don't remember the exact words, but the gist of it was that he said that I sound insecure. And when he said that, it really like hit me. Like it really made me like step back and think like, am I insecure? Like for somebody who barely knew me at that point in time to say that, and not like in a mean way or in a negative way, he's just making an observation based on our conversation. For him to say that, it just made me very uncomfortable. And I had to step back and really like think about it and ask myself like, am I insecure? Like, and then I started saying like to myself, do I have low self-esteem? Like what is going on? And then once I thought about it and really sat, like really for the rest of that day at work, that's all I thought about. Like even once I got home, like that's all I was thinking about. Like, am I insecure? Do I have low self-esteem? And after I thought about it and I like thought back to the way that I speak to myself and the way that I treat myself, I had to admit to myself in that moment that I have low self-esteem. And that's like for me that was a hard pill to swallow. Even now it's like a hard pill to swallow. Like I'm not even really comfortable saying that out loud, but when I think about it, like it's pretty true. Now, I'm not gonna say I got like the lowest of the lowest of the low self-esteem, like, cause I got some self-esteem now. I ain't just out here like that. But I don't have the highest self-esteem either. So I would say like I have like high level low self-esteem, if that makes sense. So like on a scale, I have a low self-esteem, but on the higher end of low self-esteem. So not like middle self-esteem, you know, if that makes sense. So I really had to admit that to myself. And then after that day, just like realizing and admitting to myself that I had low self-esteem, and then also being in a job where I'm constantly like not sure of myself, constantly not sure of what I'm doing, it just added like so much anxiety. Like it just created so much anxiety for me. Just like always feeling judged, always wondering like, am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? What are people thinking? Like, do these people like me? Like, do they think I'm dumb? I'm not dumb, but I don't really understand what's going on, so I look like I'm dumb. But it's just so much that was just constantly just racing through my mind. Like, as far as my job, as far as me and being confident in myself, it was just so much. And it was just really like, for a while, just taking a toll on me. To the point where I was like sad every day. Like pretty much sad every day. Like wake up sad, spend a whole day sad, come home sad, go to sleep sad. Like just sad. Like, oh my God. Like to the point that I like Googled and researched and was about to go to a therapist, because I'm like, I think I might be depressed. Like I'm sad. I don't really know why I'm sad. Nothing is making me unsad. I'm just freaking sad. Like I'm like, are my hormones imbalanced? Like something is wrong with me right now, and I don't know what it is I don't like it, and I really don't know like how to get out of this. And it was so bad that one day I was driving home from work, and I literally like bust out into tears, like just crying, like boo-hoo crying the whole way home. And I'm just like, Brandi, like something is not right, but it just, I don't know. I don't really know where I didn't know what to do, pretty much. And so I just let it linger. And I didn't, to be honest, I didn't really want, I was so low that I didn't really want to be, I didn't want it to be there. I wanted to stay sad, honestly. I wasn't at a point where I was ready to have a more positive outlook on just have a more positive perspective in general. I just didn't want that at the time, honestly. So I kind of I just let myself be sad and just dealt with it. But luckily I have been feeling a lot better lately. Because I kind of got tired of myself. I kind of got tired of being sad every day. I got tired. I felt like I was getting on people's nerves too. Like, oh my God, this girl always say, I don't want to be that person that's like Debbie Downer, pretty much, like, or that's always just sad and walking around. I don't want to be that person. And I kind of just got tired of being sick. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, pretty much. And then I decided, like, I gotta make a change. I have to make a change. And that's what I'm starting to do, you know, with this podcast starting today. And one thing that I have done on my self-love journey so far is that I have been self-learning. So I've been learning myself, learning the things that trigger me, learning the things that bother me, learning the things, trying to unpack why I am the way that I am. And I think that self-learning is very important, or what some people may call self-awareness. I think that is very important. But I think that there's a thin line between being self-aware and like beating yourself up. And I think I've been so self-aware. I've been working on self-awareness so much that it has reached a point where it's kind of like I'm beating myself up, right? So I'm like, well, I'm like this because blah, 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 blah. Or I have this negative trait or this negative behavior because of this. This is the root of that. I don't like this because of this thing. And it's like when I'm trying to unpack it, but a lot of that unpacking is based on negative things. And when you focus on the negative for so long, it no longer becomes positive, right? So in the beginning, self-learning is supposed to be positive because it brings you a level of awareness about yourself, right? But I was in that mode where I was focused on negative so much that it was no longer positive. And so what I'm working on now is coming out of that I'm still self-learning, but self-learning on the aspect of learning what I do like, what makes me happy, what excites me, focusing on things like that and learning myself from that perspective. Okay, so now that I've like made a decision that, you know, I've been in this place for some time where I was sad, I wasn't happy, I wasn't loving myself, right? Now that I've been in that place and I've decided that I'm going to start my self-love journey today, and that I'm going to commit to learning myself from a different perspective, learning and taking a more positive approach to learning myself. Where do I go from here is the next question that I have. And now that I've decided that it's necessary for me to go on this self-love journey because the way that I've been operating does not work anymore. Okay, the level of self-love and self-confidence that I have had up to this point in life, it has worked for me. Okay, but now at this point in life, now that I'm 24, I am, you know, a professional. I am trying to establish my life for myself and build a future for myself. The level of confidence, the level of self-love that I have for myself simply just does not work. It does not meet what is required in order for me to get to where I want to go. It's not enough. It doesn't work in school. I mean, I'm not in school, but it doesn't work at work. It doesn't work when it comes to dating. It doesn't work when it comes to friendships. It doesn't work when it comes to anything in my life. The level of self-love that I have had up to this point, that I have now, it does not work. And I have to change. And I have to make a commitment to that change. And like I said before, my job exposes and emphasizes my low self-esteem and my lack of confidence a lot, because it is an environment that does not support low self-esteem. It does not support being insecure. In my job, you have to be confident. You have to be sure of yourself. And so that's just an example of why it's so important and why it's necessary for me to make this change. Because if I want to succeed professionally, if I want to succeed, in relationships, if I want to succeed in any area of my life, I cannot continue to operate the way that I have been operating in the past. And so I am focused on breaking my bad habits. I'm focused on not procrastinating, not being lazy, not dealing with things that I don't like because I don't want to tell people no, or I don't want them to be upset at me for saying no. I'm not going to continue to not stick to my word that I set for myself. If I say that I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning at 7, okay, 9 times out of 10 I'm waking up at 8 o'clock. I need to stop doing it. Okay, if I set a goal, if I say something to myself, I need to stick to my word to myself so that I can be sure in myself that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. Because at this point, it's like I don't even believe myself when I say I'm going to do something. Like, ain't that crazy? Like, I don't even believe myself. I need to stick to my word when it comes to me so that I can get stuff done, so that I can set goals and really know that they're going to get done. And not set a goal, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, girl, you know that's not really going to get done. No, because it's stuff that I have to do. And it's stuff that, stuff needs to have deadlines. And if I'm constantly procrastinating, constantly not sticking to my word, I will never be able to progress. And I can't do that anymore. I'm not going to continue to hold in my thoughts and emotions and continuously overthink. I'm going to work on expressing myself and speaking up, even if it makes other people uncomfortable, even if it, is like confrontational or whatever the case is. I have to do that because me overthinking, me keeping so much in, it causes me a lot of anxiety. And I can't deal with that anymore. I cannot deal with being anxious and constantly overthinking about everything. I can't continue like that. And I also cannot continue to talk down to myself and to present an unauthentic version of myself to the world. And those two are going to be the hardest for me. I read this book recently. It's called Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. I love that book. If you're a podcaster, a podcast listener, you might know Jay Shetty. If you know Jay Shetty, let me know down in the comments on YouTube. And if you listen to his podcast, listen to his book, let me know. And let me know what you thought about the book. But I loved his book, Think Like a Monk. And one quote that he had in the book is that I am who you think that I am. And when I read that, it resonated with me so much because it's so true. Because I am who I think other people think that I am. And sometimes if who I really am is not in line with who I think they think that I am, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me not want to express that true version of myself because I don't want to be judged I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be looked at as like weird or something like that. And so I kind of restrict myself based on what I think people expect of me. And that doesn't work for me anymore either. That doesn't work for me. And speaking down on myself like, I'm not good enough, or I don't look right, or I don't dress right, or I don't talk right, or I'm not funny. That's not loving. That's not loving. And I wouldn't speak to someone else like that. And so I'm not going to continue to speak to myself about that. That's something that I'm going to work on my journey, right? I'm going to work on all of those things, and that's a lot. That's a lot that I have to work on, but it's a lot necessary stuff. And so, yeah, that's what it's going to be. And just to go back, another reason why I really want to go on this want to focus on breaking all these bad habits is because sometimes I see these habits in other people. I see myself in other people, and I see how they behave. And when I recognize, and this is no shade to those people, because I see myself in them. But when I see them acting in the way that I also behave, it kind of like gives me a reflection of me. And sometimes I'm like, whoa, like, this is how I am? Like, my negativity can bring down a room like this, the way this person is bringing my mood down. My negativity about myself can bring other people down like this. Like, oh no, I don't want to be like that. Or me not holding my word is annoying, or is hindering hindering business, or hindering something from getting done. Like, no, I don't want to be like that. I need to stop procrastinating, because this person is procrastinating and it's holding me up and it's getting on my nerves. So when I'm procrastinating, I'm holding somebody else up and it's getting on their nerves. And not only is it getting on their nerves, but it's unproductive. And so when I see myself in other people, and I get that reflection, it kind of is also a wake-up call for me. And I have experienced that a couple of times, and it kind of reinforced to me that there are things that I need to change. So that's the beginning of my self-love story, pretty much in a nutshell. Not really a nutshell, because I didn't really say a lot of stuff. But yeah, this is the beginning for me. This is day one of my self-love journey. I got a brand new diary, got my pen, and it's writing on the first page. So y'all get everything. So to wrap up the podcast, I'm going to answer a question from this card deck that I have. It has like self-love questions on here, and I'm going to pull a random card and answer a question. So let's see what it is. We need to pull a good one. Hopefully it's good. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, this is a good question. Are you giving your all to the relationship you have with yourself? If not, why? So, I would say at this point in time, I am giving 80% of myself to my relationship with myself. So, am I giving my all? No. Am I giving my all? No. But am I giving most of myself? Yes. I will say yes, I'm giving most of myself. So if not, then why? Why am I not giving my all to the relationship that I have with myself? That's a good question. I would say that I'm not giving my all because there's a part of me that is still a little bit fearful of completely changing, completely loving myself out loud. That's a little scary for me. It's very scary because it's so different from what I'm used to. And again, like I said, it's different from what I think other people expect of me. So I would say I'm not giving my all because I still have a long way to go. I'm starting my journey, and I'm learning to be comfortable with myself fully. And so that's my answer. So let me know down in the comments, O.S.L.S community. Let me know right now your response to this question. Are you giving your all to the relationship you have with yourself? And if not, why? I think that's a great conversational piece for us to discuss and to get to know each other and to start a conversation. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Our Self-Love Story. I hope this content helps you as you embark on your own self-love journey. Please rate and review the show and join the O.S.L.S community conversation on YouTube today. Your post could be our next conversation starter. Stay tuned for next week's episode coming Saturday at 1 p.m.